What do you swear you saw but have no proof? Sitting at the campsite and a beaver walks out of the lake, like on its hind legs, and proceeds to walk like this through the campsite and into the woods, like it's on its way to Pooh's house or whatever. Just strolling. You should see how they carry their babies. Me searching for beaver carrying baby. Oh, the targeted ads you're about to start getting. When I was 10, we had a 14-year-old German Shepherd who was getting very sick. I was home alone momentarily as my mom went to the neighbors to pick up a book or something. Our German Shepherd came over, convinced me to walk outside with him and started licking my hands, looked at me, and ran away, jumping the fence, and he never came back. He was so loyal and good that to this day Noon believes me and thinks he was stolen because he would never leave. I'm almost certain he did that because he didn't want us to see him die. And he wanted to go to the massive forest area and do his thing. I miss you, buddy. He went off to die alone. Dogs do that. We had a dog that we couldn't find as well one day. We have a pretty big garden. When we found her at last, she lay dead in a corner of the property on top of a place where we'd buried her mother and grandfather. Dogs are weird like that. Cats do that too. We found my cat nestled away in the back of a basement closet one day. Fished him out and he was totally limp. Realized that he had eaten cherry pits. They contained cyanide if cracked open, and poisoned himself. Luckily, we found him and rushed him to the vet and he was fine, but poor guy wanted to go die alone. My cat died last year. The last several days, the only place she wanted to be was under my bed, in a back corner where it was nearly impossible to reach her. I wasn't ready to let go, but looking back, she 100% knew it was her time. I had 4 other cats at the time, and their behavior the days before she passed was significantly different and in many ways heartbreaking as well. It is not weird. The dog doesn't leave to die alone. It leaves to die so that smell of their remains doesn't bring predators/scavengers home. It is a final act of lifetime of devotion. Edit, and now I'm sad. We would regularly go to the desert and our boxer loved it. She walked off on us one night. Never ever had she done that before. Right before this, she had developed a mass on her large intestine and had lost a bunch of weight. She was at her end of life, so this was her last time out. She loved hanging with her family, especially out in the open air. It was her thing. Well, we found her and put her down 3 days later. She told us it was time. Miss you, Zuna. I was stalked by a mountain lion when I was young. My family was ahead of me, and I saw it in a tree watching me. I yelled forward to my parents and looked back and it was gone. I was under 10 at the time and am almost 40 now. I don't even know if it was real anymore. It was. They are ambush predators and will attack small children. My dad and I were hiking once. I was 15 or 16, I believe. All of a sudden, every hair on the back of my neck stood at full attention and I felt like I was going to throw up. I said, "Dad, I really think we should go back to the van." His reply still makes my skin crawl. He simply looked at me and said, "Me too." That scared me more than anything. Superman isn't supposed to be afraid. There was a news report the next day of a hiker being attacked by a mountain lion on the same trail we were on, just a little farther up from the parking area. We both have no doubt that was what we both subconsciously sensed. I was trout fishing up a stream in the country and was alone. The others were back at the place we grilled. I could feel the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I couldn't see anything to cause that, but the hair just kept doing that. I decided to listen to my body and return to camp. One of the other campers saw a bear cross where I had been a few minutes later. I saw one of the modified stealth helicopters that were used in the Bin Laden raid. I used to live near McChord Air Force Base growing up. During the 90s, we'd occasionally see a F-117 or B-2 flying during the day. But one night in 09 or 10, I was hanging out on the shore of a lake doing teenage things and heard something weird. I was along a flight path and nearish to the aforementioned airbase, so I was used to planes and helicopters flying past. I'm familiar with what Chinooks and MH-60S sound like, but this was different. Something was off. That's when I saw 2 helicopters with normal lights break through the tree line. I assume Apache, but it was dark and I'm just guessing there. However, between them was a 3rd helicopter with no lights at all. Almost like the other 2 were escorting it. I know it's incredibly rare for any aircraft to be granted permission to fly with no lights. And again, it sounded weird. I could differentiate between the normal thwump-thwump of the 2 escorts and the mysterious 3rd craft that had a much more muffled thwip-thwip. Anyways, in 2011, SEAL Team 6 crashed one of their modified stealth helicopters during the Bin Laden raid, and they had to acknowledge that the Comanche program wasn't as dead as we were led to believe. Ever since then, I've been convinced that's what I saw that night a few years prior. I was at the airport and saw a businessman with a carry-on wheelie bag get off the escalator. He turned the corner, broke into a sprint carrying the bag by its small strap handle on top. He swung the bag forward and let go of the strap handle. While it was in midair, he grabbed the currently unextended extending handle, pressed the button, and on the backswing extended the handle and landed it on its wheels and continued sprinting, all without breaking stride. Your description has me cracking up. Dude was efficient. I once saw an electrician sweep. I don't believe you. Yeah, and I saw a plumber with properly fitting pants. Not even possible. Go back to Bigfoot stories, you conspiracy nut. 2 foxes ice skating on a frozen pond. My mom and brother saw it too. We watched for a good 10 minutes or more. Sometimes on hind legs, sometimes not, but they were definitely playing together and enjoying sliding around. Foxes like to play. I've seen some repeatedly running up a small bank and then wriggling, rolling down it like kids. And another that stole a dog's squeaky toy and was throwing it around. I'm counting déjà vu. I have lots of those. I've seen things happen before. And when the event is happening, I'm 100% sure I've seen that exact situation play before. 2018 and 2019, I had 5+ déjà vu a day. Looked into it, and it's not a risk factor for anything, so I started ignoring it. I heard some people think it's a weird processing error in how we store information. Like typically something will just get stored in short-term memory and be forgotten about, or eventually get filed away into long-term memory, but sometimes those short-term memories get filed into long-term memory right away, so it feels like it's already happened while you're doing it. Actually, people with epilepsy often get it as a warning of an oncoming seizure. My mom always complained about how she'd get really dizzy when she had déjà vu. It had been happening all her life, but when she asked doctors, they always just sort of shrugged it off. Then, one time, she actually passed out during one of these episodes. She was in her 60s by then, and it was the first time that had ever happened. My dad took her to the hospital and she was diagnosed with epilepsy. She never had the classic seizures, but her déjà vu episodes were tiny seizures. She's been taking epilepsy meds since then and hasn't had any issues in the last 20 years. I once saw a cat walk up a street to a zebra crossing, stop, look for cars, cross, then walk down in the same direction on the other side of the road. Street smart cat. Many years ago, I had a black cat that stopped at the zebra crossing, waited until the light went green for him, and only then started walking again. A coworker of mine saw him do that, and no one else was around. She was in the car, waiting at the red light for traffic. Went jogging at 5 a.m., stopped to say a prayer at a statue in front of the church. There was an old lady praying too, so I stopped by her side, closed my eyes, and then I heard the old lady crying, so I opened my eyes to check, and holy shit, she was nowhere to be found, so I thought I'd imagined her or something, and started jogging again only to hear something in the back, so I turned back and look, and there she is, staring at me. And I ran as fast as I could. Most intense jog ID ever had, though. This made me distinctly uncomfortable. I quit jogging the next day, just seemed like a healthier decision. I saw someone actually using their turn signal while driving. I once witnessed a BMW driver use their turn signal. I don't believe you. This could never have happened. I was driving down a long stretch of road around 12:01 a.m. on either side, just short grass and metal fences. I saw a man in a suit with a suitcase walking the opposite way I was driving. Thinking how odd this was, I looked in my rearview mirror and poof, no man. He vanished with nowhere to hide. I'm 99% sure I saw a ghost. When I was like 4, I was at my grandma's house and wandered off into her bedroom and met an old lady with dyed purple hair sitting on the bed. I vividly remember her and her purple hair. She introduced herself as my great-grandma Adriana. We said a few words back and forth, and then I wandered off again and kind of forgot about it. Years later, I'm 16 at my grandma's house, and I notice a picture of her, with her purple hair, on the wall. I remembered the moment from when I was young and said, "Hey, that's my great-grandma Adriana." And my mom says, "Yeah, how do you know that?" And I told her that I met her when I was a little and remember her specifically by her purple hair. My mom, confused, says she always dyed her hair purple because she hated when it went gray, but she died before you were born. I saw a ghost. It was my dad. I was laying in my bed and look into the hallway and see him clear as day as if I could have walked up and touched him, but I blinked and he was gone. I haven't seen him since. Same happened with my mom. Saw her ghost looking over my brother while he was sleeping. She turned around and saw that I saw her and gave me a, "Oh shit, I've been caught" smile. Then I rubbed my eyes out of disbelief and she disappeared. Me and my brother grew up with just our mom. Not long after she died, we found out she had 2 daughters as well. One of my sisters came down to meet us a couple months after my mom died. It was while she was staying with us that I saw my mom's ghost. I'm assuming she appeared to see my sister, who my mum hadn't seen in over 20 years at that point. A lot of people don't believe me when I tell them, but I know what I saw. 2012, I lived in the Midwest near an Air Force base. I delivered newspapers in the early morning hours to make extra money. 4 o'clock one morning, a drone starts shadowing me on my route. Not a tiny drone like today. This fucker was big, and it was way up in the air. I saw it through my sunroof. I could hear it humming. It followed me for blocks. I got out of my car to make a porch delivery and looked up at it, and it flew off. Still creeps me out. They were probably just practicing following on you. I was at my parents', sitting in the living room. They have a dog, and I was looking at her, waiting for her to give me her attention. After a few minutes, she looked at me. I wanted to teach her something unnecessary my parents would wonder about later. I began to raise my eyebrows. She looked at me still. I did it more often. She was still very curiously looking at me. I went on raising my eyebrows over and over again for at least a few minutes. After staring at me for a really long time, she suddenly raised her eyebrows. I found it so funny and couldn't believe she really copied me. When I told my family, no one believed me, and my parents' dog would not do it again. This was 3 years ago, and from time to time I sit in front of her, raising my eyebrows. But nothing. This was maybe 6 years ago in the US, but I swear I saw a fast food place where you could get lunch and a drink for under $10. My girlfriend's dead ex-husband. I was sleeping in her spare bedroom because she was sick. I felt something standing over me. I felt the presence. When I opened my eyes to look, he poked me in the ribs. I knew what he looked like from pictures, and later found out his ashes were in the same room I was in. Fuck that dead guy. A lady in white on the side of the road around 2 a.m. in rural New Jersey. All white long dress. The other 2 people in the car didn't see her. I turned back to look, saw nothing. If ghosts are real, I swear this is all I'm going to be doing when I die. I saw a fracture in this dimension. I was waiting for the bus. I turned my head and saw the bus approach with a white pickup in front of it, so I looked forward and stood up. I turned my head again to wave the bus down, and there was a vertical line extending to infinity, like looking at the edge of a piece of glass. I thought my vision was going weird and I was going to have a stroke or something, but I was perfectly fine. The bus drove through the line and the line disappeared, but the pickup was gone. I looked up and down the street, but there was no sign of the pickup. There were no turnoffs or side streets, nothing. I got on the bus and looked out of every window as I walked down the aisle. The pickup was nowhere to be seen. This sounds a lot like migraine aura. You can have an aura with a painful headache too. Many auras have geometric shapes and lines of light. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe and comment. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.